Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Kripa. I'm a dietitian with Employee Wellness in Jacksonville. So today we're going to kickstart the Nourish Life program with the first presentation called Power Your Plate. So in this presentation, we'll talk about healthy eating, healthy weight, a little bit about portion control, and the different food groups. So healthy eating. So healthy eating along with physical activity lowers the risk for health conditions in some people. A plan for healthy eating should help manage blood glucose, blood pressure, body weight, lipids, which is also known as blood fat, and it also helps prevent secondary complications. It can help also support your metabolism. So healthy eating and metabolism. It is important to space out your meals throughout the day. Going too long without eating may result in excessive hunger, which can lead to overeating later on. So eating every 4 to 5 hours keeps your body cells energized to help prevent hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugars. And if you go too many hours without eating, your metabolism starts to slow down in order to save energy. A slower metabolism prevents storage of fat. So eating breakfast can even help jumpstart your metabolism and begin the calorie burning process. So healthy eating and blood glucose. So certain foods raise blood glucose levels more than others. Foods high in carbohydrates have the greatest effect on blood glucose after eating. So choosing the right amount and right types of carbohydrates at each meals and snacks can help you maintain a more consistent blood glucose trend. Healthy eating and blood pressure. So gradually decreasing the amount of sodium, which is also known as salt, in your diet can help reduce blood pressure. Regular table salt is about 40% sodium and contains 2,400 milligrams of sodium per teaspoon. So there's many ways to reduce sodium in our diet. So maybe even try choosing fresh or frozen fruits and vegetables versus canned. Or even when you do have to buy canned veggies, maybe try picking the ones that say no salt or sodium reduced or no salt added. Try avoid maybe even placing salt shaker at the table, dinner table. Or maybe cut back on processed meats like processed ham, bacon, sausages, hot dogs, some lunch meats, and even trying to limit your frozen food intake. Healthy eating and blood lipids. So fat in your body is called lipids. So lipid refers to cholesterol and triglycerides in your blood. So abnormal lipid levels can increase the risk for heart disease. So losing weight and reducing your carbohydrate intake and choosing healthy fats will have a positive effect on your lipid levels. So healthy weight. So in this section, we'll kind of talk about body mass index, which is BMI, weight circumference, and your daily calorie needs. So body mass index, which is also known as BMI, is the measurement of body fat based on your height and weight that is applied to all adult men and women. So the amount of total body fat is related to the risk for disease, and BMI is not the perfect measurement, but it's a good screening tool. So for example, in a muscular or person or an athlete, the BMI may overestimate body fat. And in the elderly or those who have lost muscle mass, the BMI may underestimate body fat. So it's not, like we said, not the perfect measurement, but it's a good screening tool. And then BMI does not apply to infants, children, or even teens. So waist circumference is the distance around your waist. This measurement is an indicator of abdominal or belly fat. Studies in recent years have shown that belly fat is a reliable predictor of the risk factors for developing certain conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, elevated blood fat, and even heart disease. So the waist circumference if it's more than 40 inches in men and over 35 inches in women, those people are at higher risk for these health conditions. So calorie needs. So adult calorie needs can be based on the current body weight, body composition, sex, age, activity level, health status, and desired weight changes. So calories for children and teens should be adequate to provide for normal growth and development, in addition to their daily metabolic needs. But for adults, there's like a general idea that it talks about. It should be around 2,000, but depending on like your age, body composition, sex, your weight status, things like that could depend on that as well. Portion control. So portion is the amount of food that you eat in one serving, one sitting. So the portion you may eat may be actually several serving sizes. Portion management. So portion management is a part of a healthy diet, is to practice portion management. You may have like a meal plan that may list out how many servings of a food equals to one serving, or even it would tell you like how much of your plate should be filled with the foods from a certain food group. Like for example, having like half your plate filled with vegetables or something like that. Serving is a specific amount of food. So your meal may include 1, 2, or even 3 servings of a certain food within a meal or a snack. Because food comes in a variety of shapes and consistencies, serving sizes are measured in different ways. And then lastly, serving size. Serving size is usually measured by cups or spoons, or even a size of a piece. So like a size of a piece of cake or something like that. Serving size is listed on the nutrition facts panel on the food label. And food groups. So the first food group is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, when they are eaten, they break down into glucose, and it's the primary source of energy in our body. Glucose is the medical term for sugar. So during digestion, the sugar passes through the walls of the intestine and enters the bloodstream, causing the blood glucose levels to go up after eating. Carbs have immediate effect on the blood glucose levels. So it's important to spread out the carbs throughout the day. So some carbs are mostly found in everything we eat. So they're found in grains, which is like wheat, oats, barley, rice, refined grains like white bread, white rice, things like that. They're also found in starchy vegetables, such as like the picture shown below, like pumpkins, beets, squashes, potatoes, peas. And they're also found in lentils, dried beans, like black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, and even our dairy turns into carbs as well, like meat, milk, cheese, yogurt, things like that. Fiber. So fiber is an important part of your diet because it helps provide the bulk that helps move your food along in the intestines. This helps you keep your bowel habits more regular. It also curbs hunger, giving you a feeling of fullness. And this helps you avoid overeating. Foods that contain fiber tend to be rich in vitamins and minerals. And it also helps lower cholesterol and the risk for colon and rectal cancers and diverticulitis. So most Americans, we don't get enough of fiber throughout the day. The recommended amount is 25 grams for women and 38 grams of fiber for men per day. So one thing to help increase our fiber is trying to choose more whole grains. So even trying to make half our grains whole. So maybe instead of like white bread, trying to do whole wheat bread, instead of regular white rice, trying to do brown rice or quinoa, white tortillas, trying to do whole wheat tortillas. Things like that will help increase our fiber intake. And in turn, this will help reduce inflammation and the heart disease risk. So some of the different types of whole grains that we already talked about are listed, like whole wheat, oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice, barley, buckwheat, bulgur, things like that, to try to incorporate these more into our diet and try to stay away from refined grains as much as possible. So milk. Milk products have vitamin D, calcium, and other minerals, plus protein to help keep our bones strong. Fat-free and low-fat milk products are our best choices. So lactose-free, lactose is a sugar naturally found in milk and some other dairy products. So if you're lactose-free, consider other sources of calcium, such as tofu, soybeans, even orange juice that is fortified with calcium. Some natural cheeses, such as cheddar cheese and Swiss cheese, and usually some processed cheese like American cheese, also do not contain lactose. You can even also choose like plant-based milk, like oat milk, almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk. These also are fortified in vitamin D and calcium. Fruits. Fruits are packed with vitamins and minerals. They are a good source of fiber, especially if you eat the whole fruit. So whole fruit is much better than fruit juice because juice is absorbed more quickly and the carbs from the serving of whole fruit. Juice is sometimes used for even treatment for hypoglycemia, and a balanced meal should have at least 2 servings of fruit per day. Vegetables. So more specifically, non-starchy vegetables. So non-starchy vegetables are a good source of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. And a balanced meal should at least do 2 or 3 servings, if not more, of non-starchy vegetables per day. To get the most nutrition from the non-starchy vegetables, try to eat them raw, microwaved, steamed, to help preserve their vitamin and nutrient content. So some of the non-starchy vegetables would be like asparagus, broccoli, carrots, cucumbers, eggplant, mushrooms, spinach, tomatoes, zucchini, things like that. Those are like the non-starchy vegetables. So there's a lot more non-starchy vegetables than the starchy vegetables. Protein. Protein is a nutrient that is found in foods that help tissues grow and repair after injury. Meat and meat substitutes can contain protein, which has vitamins and minerals. So the National Academy of Medicine recommends that adults get a minimum of 0.8 grams of protein for every kilogram of our body weight per day. So for example, that's just over 7 grams for every 20 pounds of body weight. So try to choose things that are lean as much as possible. So like poultry, including turkey, chicken, maybe even duck, and a variety of seafood like fishes are your best bet to choose. Eggs can also be a good choice as well. And if you enjoy dairy foods, it's best to do it in moderation. So maybe try to do 1 or 2 servings per day and try to incorporate yogurt is probably a better choice as far as your dairy goes, instead of choosing like milk or cheeses. Legumes like beans, like black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, peas, nuts, like almonds, pistachios, walnuts, seeds would be like chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, whole grains, and other plant-based sources of protein is also a win for your health. And it's also heart healthy as well. Processed meats such as bacon, hot dogs, sausages, and cold cuts should be avoided. And try to limit red meat as much as possible. Like red meat, which is like unprocessed beef, pork, lamb, should be considered on more of a limited basis. So if you enjoy red meat, kind of consider it in eating it in smaller amounts or only on special occasions. Fat is a necessary part of our diet, but should be eaten in moderation. Fat provides a concentrated form of energy and helps support the growth of your body's cell. Fats help your body absorb certain nutrients and each produce important hormones as well. Each gram of fat contains more than twice the calories of carbs and protein. So 1 calorie of carb is 4 grams. Same with the protein is 4 grams, but fat has 9 calories per gram. Be aware of the portions, as eating too much of fat can cause weight gain. Fat is naturally found in animal products as well as some plant products. All fat are not the same. Unsaturated fats are found in all foods in different amounts. Plants and certain fish contain the most unsaturated fats. They can help raise the HDL cholesterol in your body, which is known as the good cholesterol, because it helps improve the status of your heart health. Try to choose unsaturated fats over saturated or trans fats. Unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature, but may turn into solid if chilled. Unsaturated fats include monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Polyunsaturated fats include omega-6s and omega-3 fatty acids. These fats play an important role in your brain function. They also help raise the good cholesterol, the HDL, and reduce triglycerides and LDL, the bad cholesterol levels. So to reduce the risk of heart disease. Monounsaturated fats are found in olives, avocados, nuts such as almonds, hazelnuts, and pecan, and seeds such as pumpkin and sesame seeds. Polyunsaturated fats are found in sunflowers, walnuts, flax seeds, fish, and canola oil. Omega-3 fatty acids are polyunsaturated fats found in some fatty fishes and other foods. Omega-3s can help lower the triglycerides and your risk for heart disease. The fish richest in this kind are salmon, sardines, and mackerel. Fish is the best source of omega-3 fatty acids, but several plants contain ALA, which is alpha-linoleic acid. This is not as rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, but some studies show that ALA can also reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. Good sources of ALA are flax seeds and chia seeds, walnuts, and soy food. Other sources of ALA is algae, which is also broken down into DHA. Saturated fats are found in foods from different amounts. Animal products generally contain the most saturated fat, but plants also have some. Saturated fat increases your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. The LDL cholesterol is called the bad cholesterol because it increases our risk for heart disease. Saturated fats are solid at room temperature. In the US, the biggest amounts of saturated fats are diets that are high in pizza, cheese, whole milk, butter, other dairy products, and then meat products such as sausages, bacon, hamburgers, cookies, and other desserts as well. Trans fat. Small amounts of trans fats are found naturally in some animal products such as meats, cheese, butter, and milk, and other dairy products. But most trans fat comes from the manufacturing process called hydrogenation. Hydrogenation is used to increase the shelf life of baked and processed foods. It helps maintain the flavor. Since trans fats have shown to raise the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, their intake should be minimized. On nutrition labels, especially the ingredients list, the word partially hydrogenized vegetable oil generally means it's a trans fat. So definitely check out the nutrition panel for trans fat content. So some tips for cutting fat are like Try grilling, roasting, baking instead of frying. Also try to do maybe tuna in water. Try to use a nonstick pan instead of cooking, so you don't necessarily have to use the cooking spray. Maybe even try using herbs and spices to season your vegetables instead of using like butter or other sauces that are high in fat. Nutritive sweeteners have calories and can affect the blood glucose levels like any other carbohydrate source. So nutritive sweeteners can include table sugar, honey, corn syrup, molasses, dextrose, fructose, lactose, and even sugar alcohols. Sugar alcohols have less of an effect of blood glucose levels than sugar. They have about half the carbs and calories of sugar. Sugar alcohol in excess can even cause gas, bloating, even diarrhea. They usually end in an OL, like sorbitol. Agave is a highly processed type of sugar from the agave plant. Agave nectar is about 1.5 times sweeter than sugar and has about 60 calories per tablespoon compared to 40 calories of the sugar in the same amount. Agave is not healthier than any other sugar, honey, high fructose corn syrup. It turns into sugar the same way in our body as any other. So it will affect your blood sugars just the same. High fructose corn syrup and regular corn syrup are made from corn. Sugar and high fructose corn syrup have almost the same level of sweetness. High fructose corn syrup is often used in soft drinks, baked goods, and even some canned products. Non-nutritive and low-calorie sweeteners and sugar substitutes have no effect on the changes in your blood glucose levels. So it's important to remember that foods containing non-nutritive sweeteners still have carbohydrates to be considered, and it still has calories. It's recommended to limit the intake of sweetened and non-nutritive sweetened beverages and encourage more water intake to limit the intakes of these sweeteners. You can also cook with several of these non-calorie sweeteners for substituting them for sugar in recipes, but you want to be careful because saccharin, potassium, and sucralose are stable at high temperatures and can be used in cooking, but aspartame breaks down at high temperatures and loses its sweetness. So it's a less suitable choice for baking. And when in doubt, maybe try to check with the manufacturer for specific information regarding their baking or cooking with sweeteners. And now we talk about the plate, right? Like this is the plating method, right? So instead of instead of calorie counting or anything like that, you want to try to just visualize your plate to have a more well-balanced meal. So these are the two different types of plates. On the left is the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate, and on the right is the USDA's My Plate. So we'll kind of talk about the differences. So while majority of us are familiar with the My Plate, the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate offers a more specific recommendations. The Healthy Eating Plate by Harvard is created by Harvard School of Public Health and Harvard Medical School and points consumers to the healthiest choice to the major food groups. The US Department of Agriculture, USDA's My Plate, though it's been revised to reflect some key findings, it still does not offer the most complete picture when it comes to basic nutrition advice. So for example, water is a main source as a beverage on the Harvard Plate shows the water icon for beverage instead of the dairy in the USDA My Plate. While dairy products have their place in a balanced diet, so emphasizing dairy is not necessary. But water, on the other hand, is essential to survival and should definitely be emphasized on a balanced plate. So every single cell, tissue, and our organs require water to work efficiently. And then not all proteins are created equally. So the Harvard plate goes into further in distinguishing between good quality protein sources, such as fish, beans, poultry, nuts, and even takes an extra step to say limiting the red meats and trying to avoid the processed meats. Same with the grains. Not all grains are created equally. So similarly to the protein, the Harvard plate encourages regular consumption of whole grains and limiting the refined grain products. Like whole grains, like we talked about, is like choosing more of like the whole wheat bread instead of white bread, brown rice instead of white rice, things like that. Trying to make half our grains whole is the goal. And getting more veggies and fruit. Fruit is definitely great, but in reality, many of us don't get enough of our vegetables throughout the day. So the visual emphasis on veggies taking up a larger portion of the plate than fruit is very useful. But the Harvard plate even goes as far as to say potatoes and French fries do not count towards your veggie allotment, which speaks volumes for the compositions of our collective diet, right? Harvard plate also gives healthy oil recommendations. So healthy fats, like we talked about, omega-3 fatty acids, are essential for brain health, fetal development, memory, heart health, joint health, eye health. So healthy fat sources could include olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, and even wild-caught cold water fish, such as salmon and tuna. And then lastly, the Harvard plate also emphasizing staying active. Staying active is essential for leading a happy and healthy life. So eating healthy and staying active is a powerful duo in increasing longevity. Any questions? Yes, the presentation can be emailed to you guys. And it has been recorded, so it'll also be on our Bridge and our YouTube page as well. And then if you want to scan the QR code to get your points for today's talk, and I'll also put the link in the chat as well. Any questions? Well, thank you everybody for joining. Next week, we'll talk about mindful versus mindless eating, and we'll have a Morrison dietitian present that. So it'll be next Thursday at noon.